I have made 2 Disney princess dresses. I have made my Cinderella dress and I have made my Rapunzel dress. But as you can see, I'm a bit of a Disney fanatic. I thoroughly enjoy Disney, I really like Disney, but I didn't particularly ever watch Beauty and the Beast cartoon version, but what I did watch quite a lot is the live action one, and I put it on just as much as I put on the live action Cinderella as well, and as much as I put on Tangled. I also put on Mean Girls the same amount, but that's not a Disney princess, so I can't really make that as an outfit. But I can, however, make Belle's dress. You should stick around to see how I made this. Hi, I have this material, which is like an orangey yellow. I've got quite a lot of it. I've then got this material, which is slightly less, but I'm going to make the skirt part from this, because there'll definitely be enough to make a skirt. However, if there's enough to then make the bodice, I'm going to make the bodice of this. But if there isn't enough to make the bodice, I'm going to make the bodice of this. Does that make sense to everyone? Because I think it made sense. Cool, let's get sewing. I got the piece of big material that I needed and I laid it down. Well, no, technically first I put it around my legs to see how long it would be, whether or not it would be big enough around, all of that, seeing how much of the material I'd actually need before cutting off the end bit of it. And I then sewed it up one size, so I had like a big tube, and then I basically draped it onto my mannequin to try and figure out the best way for it to look as a skirt. So to get the lines, I am going to make 4 lines because I don't have enough fabric to make more, possibly 8, but where this seam has created the line on the outside, I'm going to fold it in half and make like a false seam here, and then sew along that end, and then fold it in half again, and then sew this end and this end together. I did what I said that I would, and I got the material and folded it in 2 different ways, and then sewed a fake seam along 3 of the lines, and then folded it right side out afterwards. You can't see my face, but just trust me that I'm speaking. I'm gonna make the bodice. I'm gonna make it out of this and this, but I'm gonna do that first because I don't know how much more of this thread I have, and I'd rather make the bodice out of this thread because I need this thread for that, but I can use a different thread for the skirt. So I'm gonna make that now. Well, I cut out 3 bodice pieces, and 2 of them I sewed together how I would a normal corset bodice piece. I got the pieces that I needed, I traced on where I'd end up putting the boning, or in my case zip ties. I then slotted the zip ties in, sewed along it so that they were encased in their little prisons, and then I got the bit from the front, cut it in half, sewed it down the middle so it resembled her one, and then I sewed that on top of the bodice piece and turned it right side out. I then got the skirt piece and a needle and some thread, and I did some really big stitches up all of the seams of the skirt, and then pulled it so that it would ruffle up in the various places of the skirt. I go through stages of binge watching people on YouTube. Come on, focus, thank you. And one of the people that I binge all of their videos. I never watch their videos when they bring that out. It's more of a, I think that would be really fun, so let's watch it. and that is Willany, because I've not watched him in a while, and I think I'm watching the I Survived the Place Where It Never Gets Dark, which he uploaded not that long ago, about a month ago, and honestly it's brilliant. I love it. I always forget how much I enjoy his content. There's no reason to this, me talking. I just felt like you've seen a lot of time lapse, and I think people appreciate my random talking, so I thought, hey, let's randomly talk whilst I attempt to do a folded hem. Look at me using proper words and technical speak, and go back to me time-lapsing now, I reckon. If you're still here after that brief intermission, then thank you. I honestly don't know why you're still here after that, but I did a rolled hem around the raw edge of the bodice piece, and so I folded it again, and then ran that through the sewing machine. Hang on, need to get down there. So I've done this. It ain't too bad, but I ran out of the proper thread, so there's just black thread because I ran out on the bobbins, the really bit inside the machine rather than the really bit on the outside of the machine. I got the bodice piece and I pinned it so that it would fall inside the skirt piece, and I then did a rolled hem along the rest of the skirt piece, and I made sure that one of the lines that would be the front of the skirt lined up with the line of the front of the bodice of the skirt before I ran that through my sewing machine and sewed it all in place. I've tried the dress on and it's fine. It looks really good, but it's slightly too long in the torso. It's not where this should be. This bit needs to be like here. Like that. Where it needs to be. Oh no! Because at the moment it's sitting like here, the bodice bit, and I want it to about here. So I'm just gonna yoink it up. Yes, that's the correct terminology. I'd be lying if I said that I knew 100% exactly how I did this and how it worked and how I can word it so that you guys can do this too. But I don't know how I made it work. I just know that I folded the material on the inside, pinned it in place before sewing it, and somehow it worked, and I'm not too sure how. This is what we got. So I'm gonna add, and we're gonna make sleeves out of this, similar to how we made the Cinderella ones. However, these will definitely be off the shoulders, whereas the Cinderella ones could be both. But it's gonna go like that around. So I got the lighter, yellower fabric, and I cut out 2 long rectangles, folded one of them in half, sewed along one of the edges, folded it right side out, and then attached it in the front of the dress, attached it round like the top part of the bodice, and then attached it in the back so that I could fit my arm through as a sleeve. And I put scrap material inside the sleeve before sewing it in place to give it more poof. I am actually going to make, because she's got like a little foof in the middle, so I'm now going to try and make that foof. So I kept this bit in because I thought it would be good for you guys to see that even I make mistakes sometimes, but I didn't end up doing this. I used a different thing to add the woofs to her dress. So after scrapping the idea of how to make the little ringlet things that she has in the middle of her dress, I decided to add the eyelets onto the back of the dress so that I could actually take this, you know, on and off. And I tell you what, eyelets, pain to learn how to use, really good fun once you get the hang of it. In terms of the swoopy things that are on her skirt part of her dress, I got this gold leaf thread material ribbon, I don't know what it's called, and I put that on where the swoopy parts of her dress were. I did try and sew it on, but that didn't work, so I ended up using a hot glue gun instead. So I have just put on the correct ribbon. I have put on the decorative part. I am now going to try it on, but I'm going to do that off screen, and I'm going to show you guys what it looks like, and I'm going to update you on if there's any alterations that are needed. Wish me luck. Now, I know that I said that I would try it on and then tell you what I did to edit it and how I improved it, all of that, but I lied. Instead, I'm going to tell you now, because I did record that, but then I got interrupted halfway through because we had to go somewhere. So instead, I'm going to tell you now. And what I did was, when I tried it on, there was a gap at the base of where I had tied it up, so I just added an eyelet because modesty is a thing, and the sleeves fell down quite low on my arm, so I got a piece of elastic that is the same size as my arm around, like that, and I then put it onto the front and the back, and then I sewed it a couple of times along the actual sleeve so that it would stay up more. And I think that's all of the alterations I ended up doing. So, montage time.